Before the first call comes in, before the city begins to move, there are men and women already preparing for the responsibility they have chosen to carry. They are their officers. They are the investigators. They are the specialists and professionals of the Dallas Police Department. Individuals who step forward each day knowing that service requires sacrifice, courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. In our new series, When Dallas Calls, we go beyond the uniform and beyond the calls for service to introduce the people who make up the department. Through their stories, and through their experiences, we take you inside the specialized units, their mission, and the mindset of those who answer when the city needs them most. These are the men and women who rise before dawn, put on the uniform, and proudly wear that iconic Dallas Police badge, not simply as an emblem, but as a promise to protect, serve, and stand ready in moments of uncertainty. When Dallas Calls is more than a series about what they do. It is a tribute to who they are, their stories, their dedication, and the legacy they continue to build every day. Because every call has a story, every badge carries a responsibility. And when Dallas calls, they answer. Detective Rebecca Mack, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm very honored.
And our Chief of Police is back, Daniel Comeaux.
I'm here, loving it.
Well, we're here with another When Dallas Calls episode. We want to try to hit on as many units as we can. You know, we're not going to get them all because, you know, there's only so many hours in the day, so many days in the week. But we wanted to hit on Vice. And we did kind of a straw poll of who to get on to represent your unit, because you are representing the entire Vice unit doing this and sitting with the Chief of Police. Your name came up a lot, so I knew you already, so it was an easy decision.
Well, thank you. That's a great honor. I can't believe my name came up a lot.
I've said it before. Your reputation isn't what you think of yourself. If it's what others think of you, and clearly other people respect you and your work and enough to say you'd be good for this job.
I appreciate that very much.
Okay. Tell the listener who you are and what some assignments you've worked and where you currently work.
So, my name is Rebecca Mack. I'm Class 359. Woo.
What was the motto?
Every time.
It was, why would you ask that? Hang on. It was like,
we want to know.
Something through the grind. Class 359.
Okay. I'm going to take that out.
Yeah, okay, great.
Never mind.
I can't remember those first words. It was a long time ago.
Take two.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it was great. You know, I never wanted to be a cop, and so I came on kind of later in life, if you will. So I felt like I was, you know, one of the older people in the class, but it was one of the best experiences of my life. I loved it. It was a very unique experience and very long, and I loved that. Our first day on the streets, as you know, in training, was August of 2018. So that's how long I've been in this police position, if you will.
I'm curious though. What did you want to do?
Originally, there's been a lot of different things that I wanted to do. I think whenever I was in high school, I wanted to be a midwife or an obstetrician, and then whenever I went to college, I wanted to do cellular research and solve the mystery of Parkinson's disease, because it's kind of, you know, I've got several people have that in my family, so I wanted to do that. And then I took a lot of research classes, and I was like, God, this is actually heckish boring. And I have a degree in biology, so I went into the scientific field for several years after college. It was also incredibly, incredibly boring. And you see the same people every day, and you do the same thing, and I'm just counting bacterial colonies on a petri dish, and I was like, oh, this is actually not what I want to do with the rest of my life. It's kind of boring. So I switched up from there and went to medical billing, and then I made jewelry with a lady up in Frisco, and it was a lot of fun for about 5 years. And then, honest to God, this is like the dumbest part of my story in the world, but like, honest to God, I moved into a place with an older gentleman. I rented a room from an older gentleman, and I started just watching cops all the time. And I was like, this is so dumb. Everybody is doing such dumb stuff on this show. And I was like, should I do this job? Should I be a cop? It looks dumb. I think I could do this. And then after like probably about 6 months or so of watching cops obsessively, I was like, I think I have to be a cop, y'all. I think I have to do that now. And that's kind of how it started.
That's interesting. I like it.
I like
it.
it.
Really, really
But one of the things that I picked up, she's one of the smart cops, so I need to keep that in mind.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's not many
she's-
cops that sit and looks at petri dishes.
Yeah, she's
That
a
doesn't
smart
mean
one.
Or they can't make jewelry.
I took a lot of classes in silversmithing, and then I taught myself lapidary, and so I just have
can't
a
even pronounce
Man,
any
we
of
got
those things.
Hey, one thing I love doing this show is because we find out we got some unique people here
Oh, yes.
from
Extremely.
all over the globe.
We'll get into it, but Mack is extremely verbose.
Oh, yes.
Her vocabulary
Oh, yes.
is expansive
I'm sitting
beyond
here trying to
understanding.
What the heck are we doing?
I already
She'll use
feel
some
dumb
words,
sitting
but
there.
she also has a
3,
unique
4,
ability.
5-letter words, guys.
She'll dumb things down to where everybody understands it.
Please do.
I'm okay.
Yeah, if you could
I
create
make
a
jewelry.
dummy's guide to Rebecca Mack speak, please lay it on me because I'm not that smart.
Oh, I mean, that's lapidary is just in quick. Lapidary is where you take a rock and turn it into a polished piece that you can actually use in jewelry. And I'm like, my whole life I've been collecting rocks, and so I found a way to use them. Now I've got a zillion
Otherwise,
rocks
we just
in my
fix
house.
a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fix a rock. There
I
you go.
kick rocks.
There you go.
Yeah.
I told you she'll
We'll fix a rock. Okay.
We get it.
Got it. I understand what it means now.
Pretty rocks.
Yeah, pretty rocks. That's right. Shiny
Wow.
rock. Shiny rock.
Well, the listener's gonna hear you go from biology
Yeah.
to jewelry
Art.
and lapidary,
Yeah.
and then now wearing a undercover mask
Yeah. Yeah.
when you go
Super
interview
weird.
a suspect.
It's been a really weird life.
Yeah, well, it's a very live life. Tell the listener where you currently work and the type of investigation you do.
So currently, a couple of years ago, Vice kind of we combined with the narcotics unit and separated out some of the components into narcotics versus human trafficking. So I work in the human trafficking unit. There's like 6 of us, I think, plus our sergeant, and we investigate adult human trafficking cases because the department itself has another unit for juvenile human trafficking cases. And when you think about human trafficking, a lot of people are like, oh, it's from that movie Taken. Oh, it's the same thing as the movie Taken. And it's not like that. It's not like that. We generally deal with domestic trafficking, which is pimps and prostitutes, what you would think of the people you see, in certain areas of town.
Big pimp hat and cane. It's not like
Well,
that.
it's not like that anymore.
Oh.
One of the more interesting things that I've learned in this position is that actually there's a terminology that goes with that. It's called a campaign, and pimps do a campaign, and they wear specifically expensive clothes, expensive chains. They drive cars that they can't really afford, and it's called a campaign, and they're trying to recruit girls to come and work for them. It's really a fascinating. It's like a whole mystery in itself. There's so much to it that is just not common knowledge.
No, I had never heard of that.
Now, there's a whole other branch of the human trafficking component also with the massage parlors. Can you talk about that some also?
I can a little bit. It's not my forte. There's a couple of other detectives that it's definitely their forte, but with the spas, it's generally, women from out of the country. A lot of times it'll be Koreans. There's, every now and then we'll get different Asian varieties in there, but it's mostly Koreans is what we found, and they will occasionally even have like Venezuelans, but they come over here with the promise of making money, and it's an incredibly large network of people, and they generally kind of filter through New York and then get filtered into different locations where the spa owners will be like, hey, whoever's this main person in New York or main, group in New York, we need someone to come work here. And then they'll send people from New York where they've filtered in, and they'll just go down there and they'll make money. And really, it's rather dark, but they will say that they're choosing to do it. You know what I mean? Because they're making a lot of money and they're sending a lot of it home. And then the owners of the businesses are making just gargantuan amounts of money.
Well, initially it seems like it might turn profitable, but then when they find out that they're basically trapped in it, that's when, it becomes a little bit more of an issue with your group.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see like the women in these brothels are generally like in their 50s or older. Like we rarely find super young people. I mean, it does happen occasionally, but the mama-sans who are running the things are in their 70s, early 80s sometimes, and you'll look at them and you'll be like, oh, this person's probably, 40. Nope. They are much older, and they've lived their whole lives the same way. They go from being the person who's providing the massages and the different services, and eventually they kind of climb the ladder to becoming the house mom, if you will.
Now, the different services is something that we kind of touch on here. You, in your ability to explain things in your search warrants, has been probably one of my favorite parts of actually having to work with that unit. You have a knack for taking difficult things and explaining it down to a level.
Making it scientific.
Your whole Pretty Rocks, right? You do Pretty Rocks with everything that you touch, and I've always enjoyed being able to read your arrest reports because they break it all the way down to where everybody can understand it. There's no question involved. You're very, very thorough with that too, and I appreciate that aspect of what you do there.
Thank you very much. I always think to myself, if I were a judge or a person on a jury or something like that, and like a lot of people will try to say it in kind of vulgar or vague terms, but if you just put it in a scientific, like if I use the word intercourse, you're not going to be able to say, oh, that's offensive. It's a scientific word. If I say, something like vagina or penis, it is what it is. Those are scientific terms. You can't say that I'm trying to mold a narrative or sway anybody's feelings about something.
Right, but even just the pictures and the things that you add into I've always appreciated that part because I've read way more than I would ever want to, and I only did it for like 3 months, right? So, God bless the people that actually do it regularly.
I always think you're telling a story, and I want it to be the most clear possible story. I want to tell the victim side of things as best and as clear as I possibly can. And I do get very verbose in my stuff. I have very long narratives because sometimes you need a lot of pages to tell those stories.
No, you're painting a picture not just for a jail sergeant or just you're doing it for the courts and the appeals courts, and then because that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
So I think one of the things I'm curious about, we just made the announcement with the United States Attorney about Harry Hines and being able to shut down one of the bookstores that was one of the priorities really to Northwest Dallas when I got here. So I was really excited about that. And then coming off of FIFA, and I think this is in your section, one of the things that I really want to brag about you and your team and the group of Vice is that we had approximately 350 arrests during FIFA. And what I understand, the next city closest to us only had 75 arrests. That was during the same time frame. That's pretty badass.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't know to what level I could because that's your announcement to make and stuff like that. But
I think he's the highest authority.
Yes, exactly.
I'm extremely proud. Very badass. I want to hear about it.
We were utterly shocked. I've been doing this for now 6 years in the unit. I've been 3 years a detective. The 3 prior years to that, I was uniform. But we all know at the core that the reason that this business aspect thrives is because there is a customer base for it. And we were all still shocked at the amount of customers that are just on the hook all day, every single day. If we had enough resources, we could do these ops all day, every single day, and we would get, 50, 60 arrests a day. There are men out there, and that is what they are doing. They are just seeing prostitutes all day long, every day. And it's wild. The demand is wild. I already knew theoretically what it was going to look like, but I was shocked whenever it showed up in real life. We made arrest after arrest after arrest. And it was funny on the last day of our op, there was a gentleman that was sitting there with me in handcuffs, and he was watching us make a couple of other arrests while he was in the room, and he goes, "Man, everyone is so horny. I had no idea it was like this." And I laughed so hard because I was like, that was one of the customers that we arrested. He is the one that said that, and I just had to laugh.
Well, y'all knocked it out the park, and extremely
great.
Proud of what you did.
We had so much fun. I mean, it was stressful. We were working really long days, but it was absolutely worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
You know what? And I know we can't give away too much information, but sure. I was like, man, how are they doing this? Like, what's drawing? Is it just the fact that there's a want and a need out there for it, or is it some secret sauce.
Horny dudes.
Yeah, I mean, is it like a secret sauce? Like,
you know, we try to think about like what it must be like to be a John. Like, how do you define a John, like the customer? That's the common name for, the customer is the John. How do we define like who is coming to prostitutes, who's coming to see prostitutes? And it is every single level, it's every single echelon, it's every single type of person. We spanned the entire like globe as far as arrestees. It was wild to see that as well. It was rich guys, poor guys, young people, old people, people who were in like high levels of business, people with serious security clearances. They're putting that at risk. I mean, married, single, everything, every single thing.
wow.
Students, people on visas, every single person.
Well, the months leading up to FIFA, we were anticipating more people in town than we've had in years. Without giving all your secrets away and your game plans that you use, your unit as a group and as a division, did you have a particular plan in place that y'all knew you were going to use for this influx of people?
I think the most fascinating thing, one of our NGOs really pointed out to us that there's the concept that FIFA is going to draw so many people in and draw so many, victims in and stuff like that. What we found is out of those 350 or so arrests, I think it was 6 of them were here for anything to do with FIFA. The arrests that we were making were locals. They were people that live here, people that are here all the time, not just because of FIFA. That was a real shock to us.
So I'm curious, the ones you said they were local, the customers, did they think they were getting maybe a woman from overseas?
Sometimes, not always. I mean, we had a variety of things available that they could possibly want.
I get it. I was wondering, like, if it piqued the interest because they were like, oh, because FIFA's here, there's going to be something
Exotic.
different.
Yeah.
Exotic, different.
That's
here.
what we kind of thought it was going to be, but what turned out to be factual is Dallas just has, and it's the Metroplex. It's not everybody from Dallas. There was a lot of people from outside of Dallas that drive to Dallas to have their fun, but that's it was more local than we expected. We expected a lot more of the people from out of the country or out of the state or even just out of the area. Yeah. But it was more of a local thing, and that's what she's saying is you could do this every day and bring the same numbers in over and over again.
I think what people need to understand and realize that if you come to Dallas and you're doing something illegal, it's a high probability that you're going to go to jail.
Absolutely.
It's a great call there. I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
You mentioned NGO.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what an NGO is and how do they work with you guys?
Sure. So an NGO is a non-governmental organization. In our unit, our human trafficking unit, we actually have a lovely, wonderful, I can't say enough good things about her. Essentially, she acts as a social worker. She's our victims advocate.
You want to give her a shout out?
Jackie, God bless her. I couldn't do my job without her. I'm absolutely serious. I say it all the time. If she ever leaves, I'm going to have to go back to, patrol because we cannot function without her. She is integral to our unit because she keeps in contact with the girls. She's the one who sets up all of the connections with the non-governmental organizations that provide for us. It's when we interact with a victim, they're usually like at one of the lowest points of their lives and they need crisis intervention immediately. They need a place to stay that's going to be safe. They need food. They need clothing. They oftentimes have all of their paperwork, all of their documents have been taken away by the trafficker. So they need like the absolute basics that a person needs to survive. And Jackie's the one who sets them up with that. And she does this incredible work where she meets these people, these organizations out in the community and finds out what they can offer. And then she knows who to call, who to contact whenever we have a girl, let's say we have a younger girl, they can go to certain places. If we have older girls, they can go to other certain places. Whatever they need, she can provide for. And that's because she's done the legwork to find out who is available at what times, who's got beds that the girls can sleep in, who's got money that they can provide us to, give the girls what they need at that point. And so Jackie is she's the most integral part of our unit. Like,
she's like the mom to not only your group, but to every victim out there. And she's I said it over and over again for 3 months while I was there. Like, I don't know exactly what you do, and that's not just all she does, right? She does so much more than just that. But
Yeah.
I said, whatever you need, just let me know what you need, and I will try to help you. And she never asked for a thing.
Yeah.
She's always just handled it on her own and knocked it out of the park.
You know what's interesting? She said if Jackie leaves, she might have to go back to patrol. There are openings in patrol.
No, thank you.
But here's the problem, and I think you're starting to kind of dig yourself a hole here. I like putting smart people around me because they make me look better and they make me feel like I'm better. I feel like if Jackie leaves, I have a place for someone on my team. I'm kind of digging this. I'm getting this like really smart vibe. Like I'm getting this I'm really intelligent vibe right here. Like it's, sometimes you get the ones where you say they're really too smart to be a cop. Like that's the type of people I like around me.
Wow.
I mean,
Sorry.
there's like openings on the 6th floor. Like, I mean,
I
like
don't know
around
what that means.
but
I do.
no, like
She's trying to play dumb now. I don't know what that means. We want to keep Jackie around, and we want to keep Mack around as long as we can. Also, now she did jump into this position as a PO, and I've talked to her before about you need to look at your promoting. Like
Everybody always gripes at me about promoting. Oh my gosh!
But she's so passionate about what she's doing right now that she's foregoing promotion to continue the work that she's doing, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, it is something to be said for that, but we also need leaders in the department, and for us to reach the level that we want, we need good people to promote. And if you're one of those good people, you at some point you have to promote to lay that foundation for those who follow.
Sure,
make that bridge easier to walk over.
That is true, and I've given it consideration over the years. The amount of money and training that we've put into our detectives up there, like it would be a hardship to the unit if any of us left. I mean, if you look at our people in our unit, we've got insane longevity. The people that have been there the whole time have just been there the whole time. We don't have a lot of turnover at all, really. We've got I think one person has promoted out of the unit. And then one person that was there whenever I started came back eventually, but after he passed through a couple of other units, it's an insanely fantastic place to work, and my people are just, I couldn't ask for a better group of people. I trust all those guys with everything. Like, there's only a few people in the world that I trust, and I trust all of my coworkers up there. They're the best. I couldn't possibly ask for better.
They do have a great group.
I like it.
No, peace and being comfortable in any job is really hard to find, and I have contact with everybody in this department, and happiness and being comfortable is really important.
Yeah. People have brought up oh, well, you're missing out on the money aspect, and I'm not money driven. I would my original trainer, James Petty, senior. Well, he's a sergeant now. So Sergeant James Petty, he was like, all this and a paycheck too, and I say it all the time now because it makes me laugh because I would do this and I still get paid. It's crazy. I would do this regardless. It's fun. I have fun every day. I never, I've been through a bazillion jobs in my life where you wake up and you just you're like, oh man, I'm going to work today. You have to sigh before you get out of bed. I don't do that any day. I mean, there are days that are hard and stuff like that, but every single day I'm like, oh my God, yes, I can't wait to go to work. It's going to be fun.
I love it.
Can you tell us about some of those cases that keep you going?
Absolutely. So I've got a couple that are, here's one of the interesting things about our work, honestly, is that the cases are incredibly long. They can be up to a year, 2 years. I think the country on average, if you're doing a human trafficking case, the average is 18 months from start to finish. And we try to pack it in as quickly as we can. Not all of them go to 18 months. We try to get things done a lot quicker, but we have certain constraints like the results of our search warrants and stuff like that. They take a long time. But so funnily enough, one of the very first cases I ever did as a detective back in, I think it was June of 2023, is only now going to court sometime in the next few months. That's a 3-year-old case, So that can be really, really frustrating. Once you put all this effort into it and it just sits in the court system forever. But there was some, not litigation. What's the word I'm looking for? Some Austin made some changes to the laws a couple of years ago, and that's really made an improvement to how long the cases can sit in the court.
Legislation?
Yes, legislation. Yeah.
Well, I'll say you can't think of the word, I can't. So.
All right. But the legislation helped a lot because now that those shorter durations are in place, the prosecutors can't really, like, they're not allowed to sit on them as long. And so, you know, you look at a lot of these, I see pass slip, and it's like years worth of pass slips, and it's just an avoidance mechanism, I think, by the defense.
Is that frustrating because you've seen repeatedly where these pimps have silver tongues and they're able to talk these victims back into it or threaten them back into falling back into the places they were already at when you've worked so hard to get them out of that? Sometimes
it's for me, it's more that, you know, 3 years down the line, I've moved on to a bazillion other cases, and now whenever it does potentially go to court, I'm going to have to go back and, like, try to force myself into reliving that whole case so that I can remember everything for testimony. Fortunately, none of my cases have gone to trial. Everything's either pled out or it's gone without me having to testify. One of my cases that has finished, though, is a gentleman. I actually got 40 years on him, so that turned out really, really good. I was pleased with that. A lot of times they will plead them out to sex offender registry, and then, you know, like 5 years of deferred probation, and that's always very frustrating because you put a lot of time and effort into these cases. And now I feel like I'm at a point where, as a detective, where we can really communicate with the prosecution and be like, that's unacceptable. Like, I need y'all to do, y'all gonna have to give a little bit more consequences, because that's one of the issues in the justice system. If people don't feel like there are consequences to their actions, then what are we doing? We're just on a repetitive cycle. Well, the common misconception is that prostitution is a victimless crime. Oh, man. Right? Yes. And that kind of leans toward the thinking that these girls are out there doing it because they want to. Yeah. Can you talk on how that's really not the case? Absolutely. I would be happy to talk on that. And, you know, there's probably several people that have heard this story before, but that's whenever I came to the unit, I always said that Vice was the one place I would never work, because you can't afford this, you know what I mean? Like, you can't buy me. And this is the place that I'll stay until I get kicked out or get, you know, keel over in my chair one day. But that's what I thought at the beginning. I was like, who cares about this? It's two consenting adults. That is absolutely not what it is. And the more that I got to know the girls on the Blade, that's the name for the area of town where the girls work, it's called the Blade or the Track. The more that I got to know these girls, and I would come back to the office and I would research them in our reporting system, and I would find probably 95% of them, if they were from the Dallas area, I could find their childhood sex assault cases. And I started to see that as a trend, and I was like, that is horrifying. That means something. You know, there's obviously an issue here. So when you take that and add it to these men who are telling them, you know, babe, you don't have to do this. Like, you can just hang out, and, like, I've got other girls that do that. You're my special girl. And they spend a lot of time grooming these girls. You find that it is not as simple as consent. It is girls that are being coerced with their feelings. Like, they're being coerced and tricked into this by being brainwashed into this sense of loyalty to people who are not loyal to them, and they will play the long con. It is really wild to see the amount of effort that a pimp will put into a female just to get her to give him all her money. It's really tragic. And so whenever, like, what really hit home for me was this one day. It was back right around, I want to say it was like right around the George Floyd protests. And so we spent a lot of time in the office I started doing a lot of research on the computer, just looking at stuff. And I, you know, found different patterns and found different people that I was watching on the Blade. And we ended up doing a traffic stop on this girl that was walking around, and she was very obviously a prostitute. It was back when we still were able to do the manifesting arrests. And I talked to her and I said, hey, you know, can I ask you why you're over here? Like, because she was on a part of the Blade we don't often encounter girls. And I said, I kind of assume it's for your customer base. And she was like, no, well, it's not because of that. It's actually because I left my pimp, and you can only be in certain areas if you don't have a pimp. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting to know. And so we found out that there are certain areas they can be where if they don't have a pimp, the pimps know, and the pimps can automatically beat them up or, like, assault them just for being there.
So I'm curious, kind of off of that.
Sure.
2 questions.
Sure.
What's the lifespan of a woman in this business? And do they often switch pimps? Like, are pimps trying to get women from different stables to come to their stables?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. The lifespan, that's a good question, because eventually you age out, but we see a lot of like girls that are, in their late 40s, early 50s, and eventually they start getting, they just have been beat up for so long that they finally will like take services. We have a girl that made an outcry to me a couple of years ago, and God bless her, she had been just tortured with drugs for many, many years, and we've been really surprised. Jackie put her in services, and she keeps in contact with her all the time. She is doing amazingly, and she's probably in her mid-50s.
Oh, wow.
And her original pimp got federal charges, actually, and they were not my charges, but they were different federal charges, and he got put away in like federal prison for, I think his is 45 years. So eventually the girls do kind of age out of this, and that's one of the things that the pimps will use as a manipulative tactic. Like, you're too old, nobody wants to have sex with you anymore. Like, you're not going to make any money. You have to work so much harder and stuff like that. They eventually get out of the game kind of one way or another, but it's hard for them to stay out of it fully. And so they will oftentimes just end up in different parts of the country. We kind of lose track of them sometimes, but it's mostly very, very young women, like between 17 and I'd say 25 is what we generally see or what we interact with. And we oftentimes see them most often if they've just been recently really beat up, or they've been, they feel like they've been betrayed by their pimp. And so they'll want to, now I want to report him, but then, depending on where they are on their journey, they'll end up back with them or back with another pimp or something like that. To your second question, are they trying to get the girls to? Yes, there is a whole verbology associated with it. So
what does that mean?
There's a different language.
Okay.
There's a different language. So sorry. It's called choosing a pimp. And so before I had any knowledge on this, I was really surprised that a lot of the rap from like my young adulthood is talking straight up about like, what's that there's this one song, it's like they're basically walked in the club trying to get chose and stuff like that. There's DJ Chose, there's all these people. The term choose and chose is like, that's you choose up to a pimp. And it means that that's the pimp you're going to go with. And oftentimes there's a fee related to that. It can be anywhere from, like $100 to like $2,000. That means the girl has to pay the pimp X number of dollars to choose into his like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, choose into his stable. And then there's to leave his stable, you have to pay a fee to get out and to choose up into a different stable. And so the campaign that all the men are doing, like driving around in fancy cars, it's oftentimes rentals, wearing, very expensive clothes that they've bought off the proceeds of these girls. Their campaign is to try to attract women to like leave their own pimps and come and work with these. It's interestingly enough, in one of my most recent cases, I found that in this gentleman's Facebook, he was messaging prostitutes. You can there are certain red flags you can see if a girl is a prostitute. He was messaging these girls, and I think it was like 120 different messages between a certain year span where he was like, "Hey love, are you happy in your situation?" And it's just an introduction into, well, what do you mean my situation? Well, what is going to make me happier? And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to elevate you. I'm going to, you've got so much talent. It's just being squandered. Come and work for daddy. Come home. It's time to come home." Oh, it is so frustrating. It is frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see because these girls are easily manipulated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
From a emotional standpoint, you see these victims and the situations they're in. How do you deal with that? I mean, you're pretty serious, and it seems like you handle it very well. But are there some times where it just really bothers you?
Oh, sure. I think one of the difficult parts of this job is the the fact that we all go through cycles of burnout. Or if you have a girl that you really have a lot of hope for, and they don't end up staying in services, or they go back to their pimp, or you find out that they, got murdered or got beaten up by someone else and stuff like that, because that's happened multiple times. You have to just really know how to compartmentalize, and you have to stay very involved with your support system. And you have to have people outside of the police field to keep involved in your support system, because you have to remember that there are people out there that are not repeat offenders and repeat contacts with the police. There's people that are good people out there that are not dealing with this all the time. And so that's one of the things that I very much stay with my support system. Me and my sister are very close. I've got a bunch of friends. I do bizarre things on the weekends. I separate myself from the work. That's what you have to do.
What is bizarre things on the weekend?
Yeah.
Rocks.
Yeah,
Rocks.
that's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to hear what other bizarre things you do on the weekend.
Oh yeah, I go out rock hunting. I'd go on little trips to go find rocks to use in new projects and stuff like that. I do art. I go to thrift stores. I just spend time with my people outside of the career.
I like it.
How much time do you have away from the job? Because I know your all's caseload is fairly heavy. You're on call. There's only 6 of you.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys are on call almost constantly. And,
Oh, yeah.
and when you're on call, you're getting called almost every night.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Talk about that and the caseload.
The caseload it's crazy. Some days it's crazy. In the detective training that we did, the D-Track classes, I can remember Derek Cheney said something that was integral. It stuck in my brain, and thank goodness, because he was like, y'all, if you're detectives, do not try to finish everything. Don't try to finish everything. He said, you're never going to do that. You're never going to get caught up. You need to stay on top of what is the priority. And that is what that's what you got to do. And I was like, man, thank goodness somebody said it so that I could hear it because it's very true. I have a very high caseload. You just have to stay on top of the things as you go. And I don't ever try to get caught up, because that is not going to happen. But it's the length of the cases is kind of what bogs us down a little bit. And it's just, there's no way around it. You just have to, there's so many search warrants and so much investigation involved that, they're just long.
And so many repeat offenders.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I mean, a lot. You said something earlier that maybe I wanted to ask at them and I forgot and I got it back. Is when a lot of these folks take a lot of pleas because they don't want to go through the shame of and going to court. Mm-hmm. Is that what you see?
Maybe. I don't know if it would be
especially
the
these Johns.
Oh well, the Johns. Yeah. Johns. Yeah.
Some of these people that have high profile jobs that they don't want to be dragged to a courthouse and
yeah. Absolutely. And, with the Johns, they end up taking classes and stuff like that. And we offer that as a city. It's called the STOP class, that is supposed to teach them about what trafficking looks like and why they should not be going to prostitutes. And in the FIFA ops, we had several people that were repeat offenders even after the STOP class. Even people that had they told me specifically, they were like, I lost my job. I had to change and get a new job after this. And they still showed up. They still kept on doing it.
They didn't lose that libido.
Is it libido? Is it really libido? That's the thing that I ask myself oftentimes. You can stay home and masturbate. Is it libido? Why do I need to go see a stranger?
Chief. Chief stepped out of the room during that phrase.
Okay. I'm going to be chiefly right now.
Okay.
Well, perfect.
You need to read some of these arrest reports and
I'm going to be chiefly.
And search warrants. There's
so many questions, but I'm going to be chiefly right now.
Oh,
so
man.
what could make the unit better?
Obviously, like we said, it's the same thing that everybody in the world is going to say. We need more people. Blech. It's the most boring answer I can imagine, but we do need more people. Everybody in the country needs more people right now. I think there are different kinds of accesses to different programs that might improve things a little bit. I mean, we've got accesses to most of the things that I would need or I would use. It's really a matter of just we're all stretched pretty thin, but that's, every department in every country. I don't know that there's anything else they could make it better.
Everyone's looking at me when they say, we need more people. We need more people.
Nah.
But I've mentioned this before on with other groups and sections, we are right-sizing the department right now. We're looking at the bureaus, we're looking at the divisions, and figuring out where we need more people. And I can tell you, your unit has been extremely successful with what you have now, and it is something that we're going to look at, to the point I actually just text the chief of staff and said, how many are in vice and what's the TO in vice? I literally just texted that 2 minutes ago.
Oh,
There you go.
was it because I was here?
Yes.
It was fresh
And
in your mind?
some of the things that you were saying, it made me think that maybe we need more people there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we work hard. It's interesting to be in a group of people. I mean, like I'm the only single person in the group. Everybody else has, families and extensive. They have like home lives, right? I've got a dog and a cat, and so I feel guilty if I'm not seeing my dog and a cat enough. But I can't imagine what it's like for them to not see their wives and their kids a lot. But that's why I feel like I'm a good fit in here, is that I don't have the kind of responsibilities that necessarily everybody, and I'm not looking to get those responsibilities, it's if I call one of those people in the middle of the night, they're gonna come running. They're never gonna leave. Like we all are down to be there at any time for each other, and so that's one of the benefits of our unit is we're all very loyal to each other. We're very dedicated to the work. I know that the guys that I work with legitimately care about these girls, and it's really satisfying when we all come together like that. It's like a family, where a family is away from home. They're as much my brothers as their regular family, I think. That's probably like pushy to say, but it kind of is. I mean, I depend on those guys.